Hi, welcome to Prime Recap. An artificial intelligence captures people through their smartphones, and it is up to the Looney Tunes and LeBron James to vie for the future of the human race in an extremely overpowered basketball match. Today we will recap the story of Space Jam from 1996 and Space Jam: A New Legacy from 2021. After giving up his childhood to become a professional player, the athlete LeBron James has become a strict father who tries to force his children to give up their dreams and train as much as he does. But this is not what Dom, his middle son, wants. He has the dream of creating his own basketball game. At Warner Studios, LG, the producer's algorithm, notices LeBron's great rise and convinces the directors to invite him to participate in a new project of the company. LG plans to digitize LeBron's body and use his character in movies such as Batman and several others. But the athlete does not like the idea at all and begins to ridicule the artificial intelligence that suggested it, leaving LG extremely angry. But unlike his father, Dom thinks this is a great idea and starts praising the algorithm. Determined to use the boy to take control of the situation and put his idea into practice, LG manipulates the elevator to take them to the company's server and absorbs Dom into his digital world, with LeBron following close behind trying to save him. As soon as father and son arrive in this virtual dimension, the algorithm appears to them and after a little conversation captures Dom and challenges LeBron to a basketball match for his son's freedom, causing the athlete to float aimlessly in the middle of the Warner universe. After passing through several planets, LeBron gets too close to the world of the Looney Tunes and ends up being attracted by gravity. On this planet, LeBron begins to search for the Loonies, but only finds Bugs alone in a deserted town. After learning about what happened to LeBron's son, Bugs lures Marvin the Martian to the world of the Loonies and steals his ship to look for players to form his team. Thinking of a great lineup, he assembles a dream team with players like Batman, Superman, and even King Kong. While sailing through space in search of the team members, LeBron and Bugs pass through the world of Harry Potter, where he is selected for Hufflepuff, and on to the world of DC, where they become Batman and Robin in the Rabbitmobile to save a runaway train. When they reach the conductor's cab, the duo meets Super Duck, who breaks the brake trying to save the people, but at the last second they are all saved by Superman, who stops the train just before it crashes into an orphanage. When he finds the Justice League, LeBron tries to recruit them for his team, but since they are all busy, the only one who joins them is Daffy Duck himself. With the most promising players out of the team, the trio goes to the Mad Max universe to try to recruit someone tough, but the only ones willing to participate are Coyote and Roadrunner. Giving up on his idea of a team of superstars, LeBron agrees to put together a team with the Looney Tunes and they go through some planets to recruit Elmer Fudd, Sylvester and Yosemite Sam. With the team almost complete, Bugs decides to look for an experienced player to lead the team and goes after Granny. But while they are in space, Ricky and Morty, who did several tests on Taz, show up and throw the Tasmanian Devil into the ship just like that. Finally they go to get Granny and Speedy Gonzalez in the Matrix world, and after recruiting them, they go to get one last player, Lola, who is taking the test on the island of the Amazons where she has spent the last years training with Diana. With this, LeBron's team is finally complete and they can start training, but as he has always had rigorous preparation, the player tries to teach the Loonies to play exactly like him. On the other team, Dom presents his game to LG and tells about how he managed to scan the players to add them to the game, and curious, the algorithm takes the boy's scanning device to steal the code and manage to do the same. To benefit his team even more, LG creates a character of Dom within the game and gives him as much skill as possible, making him a better player than any professional. It turns out that the algorithm wants the basketball game to be in the game that Dom created and is doing everything possible to make his team extremely overpowered, including modifying the programming code to give powers to the other team members. When the day of the big game arrives, LG makes the court materialize and modifies the entire Goon Squad, turning them into real beings. With the two teams ready, the algorithm brings the most famous Warner characters to watch the game, but since he wants everyone to see LeBron being humiliated, LG uses the scanning technology he stole from Dom to make people's cell phones take them from planet Earth to the cartoon world. With practically the entire human population watching the game, LG takes advantage of the fact that Dom is not there yet to explain the awarding ceremony. If the Goon Squad wins, everyone goes back to their normal lives, but if the Dom's team is champion, all humans will be trapped there forever and ever, and the Looney Tunes will be deleted. After explaining this, LG prepares for the start of the game and introduces his team called Goon Squad, made up of White Mamba, Wetfire, Arachnica and Dom. Upon seeing his son, LeBron tries to tell him that LG is trying to manipulate him to make all humans stay trapped there, but the boy does not believe him and just decides to continue with the game. Even with their lives in danger, the humans are confident that LeBron James can win, but they begin to worry as soon as the game starts and Dom jumps so high he almost turns into a shooting star to catch the ball. Thanks to their powers, Goon Squad are able to make an incredible exchange of passes, and White Mamba scores 16 points with a dunk. Guys, in this game the players also get style points. In other words, the prettier the move, the more points they get. After starting at a disadvantage, Lola takes the ball and runs towards the enemy basket, but before she can even realize it, Arachnica traps Sylvester in her web and steals the ball from her with the shot of a single thread. With possession of the ball, Arachnica uses her 8 legs to score a sequence of shots that leaves Goon Squad team with more than a 60-point lead early in the first half, and soon after Dom manages to make a beautiful one-on-one play with his power-ups that gives him 33 more points in one shot. Even seeing all the Tunes being literally crushed, LG is still not satisfied and decides to make a substitution to increase the score. He then removes Dom and puts Kronos in his place. As you can imagine from the name, this player has the power to control time. Kronos uses his temporal powers to humiliate the Tunes and LeBron, and makes a basket that leaves them with more than 1,000 points of advantage. Realizing that looking at this match as a normal game won't work, LeBron decides to give up the strategies he knows and let the Tunes play as they please, letting Bugs set up all the strategies. With half the game remaining, the Tunes come back in the third quarter very motivated and Coyote uses his cartoon skills to draw a train that runs over Brow. As soon as LeBron touches the ball, Goon Squad immediately surround him, but they can barely see when the Roadrunner comes running at full speed and catches the ball, creating a smokescreen that Tweety takes advantage of to make a dunk that scores more than 50 points. After this incredible basket, a bonus rap battle event begins to take place. Representing the Tunes team, Porky takes the microphone and begins to crush the other team with a speed flow and mic drop, getting almost 200 style points with his rhymes. On the next play, Taz is reaching to the basket when Brow steals the ball and flies towards the hoop to score, but the Tasmanian Devil uses his powers to literally spin the court, causing the enemy player to score 200 more points for them. To score even more points, Coyote gets an Acme multiplier machine and throws the ball through the tube, making hundreds of balls pass through the basket, but as things always have to go wrong for him, the animal ends up being sucked into the machine by accident, which causes a real rain of coyotes but also adds up in points and makes them practically tie the match. Afraid of losing the game, LG puts Kronos to play one more time, but now Granny decides to take the field to counter the powers of this basketball titan. She then does her kung fu moves and challenges Kronos to a fight, but when he starts advancing towards her, Granny uses a super punch that pushes him away. The lady then jumps over the bully and manages to touch his watch, making him advance 132 years in time and become practically a mummy, thus getting another 30 points. At the end of the third quarter, LeBron and Lola make a beautiful joint play and thanks to the jump power-up, LeBron is able to make a dunk that finally turns the game around. Furious at the possibility of losing, LG gives up pretending to be nice and starts offending his entire team, including Dom. Seeing how his son is being treated, LeBron starts the last half with possession of the ball and moves straight towards Dom, but stops in front of him and praises him for creating this amazing game. LeBron apologizes for not being a good father and for not encouraging him to follow his dreams, and finally, he invites him to join the Tunes team. After trying to stop Dom from changing teams and failing, LG decides to enter the game and modifies the code in front of everyone to transform himself into a practically omnipotent being. When the game restarts, Lola makes a basket, increasing the advantage even more, but LG uses his powers to make the ball come back and the Tunes lose the points they just got. Realizing how overpowered the algorithm can be, LeBron decides to change strategy and leaves everyone on the defensive, but Goon Squad use their powers to break the enemy formation, leaving only LeBron to try to defend, but even being a professional player he cannot stop the ball and LG buries, scoring 2 points, thus managing to stay with 1 point advantage with 10 seconds to go until the game ends. LeBron then calls for a technical break, and Dom remembers that there is an error in the programming. It turns out that while he was making the game, Dom put a special move for each of the professional players, and for some reason his father's move has a bug that will crash the game, preventing LG from controlling the programming. But there is a problem. In the game, every time this move is made by a character, he is automatically deleted, that is, whoever makes this move will cease to exist. Wanting to save everyone, LeBron volunteers to make the move and returns to the court, but when the game starts, Lola tries to pass him the ball and Bugs Bunny jumps in front to get the ball, making the shot, but he ends up playing with little force and the ball starts to fall. At this moment, a power-up jump spawns in front of LeBron and he uses it to try to hit the basket, but refusing to lose, LG jumps on his back to make him lose altitude. Trying to help his father, Dom throws a jump buff that was spawned on his foot and LeBron uses the power-up to dunk the winning basket at the last second, turning the game around and managing to eliminate the LG. With the match over, everyone starts celebrating as the humans head home, but in the middle of the court the Looney Tunes are saying goodbye to Bugs Bunny, who is suffering from various glitches. In their last moments in this world, LeBron and Dom thank Bugs, say goodbye to the Looney Tunes, and return to Earth. As soon as all the humans leave, the Toons world returns to its 2D format along with the characters, but that is not enough to cure Bugs Bunny, and our beloved rabbit turns into a beautiful shining star. But rest assured, folks, like a good cartoon character, Bugs never dies, and soon he pays a visit to LeBron to get to know the human world. On a small planet called Moron Mountain, the owner of the rather evil amusement park realizes that his customers are bored with his attractions and orders his employees to come to Earth to capture the Looney Tunes and use them to attract the children. Upon arriving on our planet, the little aliens start exploring the Earth while looking for the characters, and after going all over the planet without finding anyone, they open a crater in the ground and start exploring underground, finding the entrance to Warner's world. As soon as they arrive in the cartoon world, the aliens start flying over until they find someone and decide to land, crushing Elmer Fudd in the process. As soon as they get off the vehicle, the aliens start talking to a very famous rabbit, asking if he knows where Bugs Bunny is, and cunning as always, the rabbit says he has never heard of it and starts to walk away, but the aliens quickly realize that their target is right in front of their eyes and fire their laser guns at Bugs Bunny, forcing him to round up all the Looney Tunes as soon as possible. From his home, Michael Jordan is watching the Roadrunner cartoon with his children when Porky invades the animation and calls all the characters to an emergency meeting, interrupting the episode completely. In the cartoon syndicate, Bugs Bunny, fully chained, tells of the aliens who have come to take them as slaves, but the characters ridicule the situation, believing it is some kind of joke. However, when Yosemite Sam tries to challenge the invaders and is incinerated by the alien weapons, they all surrender. Trying to reel in the aliens, Bugs Bunny says they can't take the Looney Tunes before a formal contest for freedom, and thinking of the short stature of the invaders, they decide to challenge them to a basketball match. Without a clue as to how it is played, the group of aliens begin to infiltrate professional basketball games and invade the players' bodies, stealing their abilities and depositing them into a kind of alien ball, which leaves the athletes totally unable to continue playing. With the skills of 5 professional players collected, the aliens touch the ball and absorb their talent, transforming themselves into colossal aliens with the physical form of real superstars, managing to crack the ground just by throwing a ball on the ground. Upon seeing the new skill level of the invaders, the Looney Tunes immediately realize that they will need help and go to a golf course where Michael Jordan is playing with some friends and abduct him through the hole. Back in the cartoon world, Bugs tells Michael about what the aliens have done and asks him to help them in the match so they can stay free. Trying to convince Michael to help, the Looney Tunes take the player to the court that is falling apart, but with a little saliva and the skills of the Tasmanian Devil, they quickly manage to fix things. Just as the Looney Tunes finish fixing everything, the team of aliens arrive and challenge Michael to show off his skills, but when he refuses, the challengers turn him into a ball and start playing with him. Seeing the literal size of the problem the Looney Tunes will have to face, Michael accepts to help and begins to train them, especially Lola, the best at basketball. Knowing what he will have to face, Michael asks Daffy and Bugs to go to his house to get his professional equipment. After almost being devoured by Michael's dog, Daffy Duck enters the house together with Bugs and they go straight to the trophy room. But while exploring the place they meet again the big dog that tries to catch them, but they are saved at the last second by the players' children. After picking up the equipment, Bugs and Daffy Duck begin to head back home, but are spotted by Stan, Michael's assistant. It turns out that after Jordan was sucked down the hole, Stan started digging a giant crater to recover his idol but couldn't find him, and now that he was about to give up, he caught Bugs and Daffy Duck entering the hole and decides to do the same, following the duo until he finds Michael. After a long period of training, the day of the big game has finally arrived and thousands of Warner characters crowd around to watch the match. As the match begins, Michael gets a serve advantage and passes the ball to Bugs, but quickly one of the invaders manages to get the ball away from the rabbit and make a beautiful dunk. In the next shot, Michael is being marked and passes the ball to Daffy Duck, but when he realizes that the entire enemy team is coming for him, he quickly throws the ball to Granny, who is crushed even though she is on the bench. As the game progresses, the invaders start playing dirtier and dirtier, turning Foghorn Leghorn into a toasted chicken, but still the Goon Squad manages to make a few points thanks to Lola and Michael, but they end the first half at an extreme disadvantage on the scoreboard. In the visitors' locker room, Stan hides in the closet to listen to the aliens' conversation and finds out what they have done to the NBA players, but the aliens manage to track him down, give him a good beat up, and take him brand new to the Toons locker room. When reuniting with his team, Stan warns them about what the aliens have done, and while Michael tries to motivate his teammates, Bugs fills a bottle with water and pretends to be a secret formula that he distributes to all the characters, making them extremely powerful with the purest placebo effect. As soon as the second half begins, the Toons are already brimming with confidence, and manage to turn the game around. After a real massacre, they come close to leveling the score, forcing the aliens to call a timeout. Taking advantage of the break, Michael goes to the alien owner of the park and bets his own life on this match, saying that if he wins, the talent of the NBA players will be returned, and if the aliens win, he himself will be sent to the alien planet to be enslaved for the rest of his life. With this deal closed, the aliens start playing even dirtier, making a real Looney Tunes soup. With his team almost completely destroyed, Michael is now the one who asks for time to reorganize the team and uses the opportunity to put Stan as an anchor, but as soon as he gets the ball, the aliens go all out, turning him into a bizarre pizza dough. With 10 seconds left and one player down, the referee appears to say that if they don't get a fifth player they will lose by WO. At this point actor Bill Murray just appears out of nowhere and offers to help. After reviewing their tactics, Bill goes to Daffy Duck and asks him to headbutt one of the aliens, who drops the ball on impact. Murray then picks up the ball and passes it to Michael Jordan, who ramps up on one of the aliens and, even being held by two opponents, stretches out his arm to dunk the ball, turning the score to 77-78 in the last second, thus achieving the victory. Furious at his defeat, the owner of the park begins to offend his employees, but since they are now much bigger than he is, the aliens put him inside an Acme rocket and dispatch the villain to the moon. With the game over, the aliens hold up their end of the deal and deposit the player's skills back into the basketball, returning it to its original shape and size. With everything settled, the aliens are now part of Looney Tunes, and Michael says goodbye to return to the human world. Back on Earth, Jordan goes to the athletes who have lost their skills and asks them to touch the ball, recovering their skills, and finally getting back to their careers. So, what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like it and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.